Passing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, good evening, East Hampton Town Board. We're broadcasting live on Channel 22. We're streaming to YouTube. The meeting is being recorded. The phone lines are
Hold
open.
on a second. Matthew, we just lost the town clerk, so we're going to have to hold.
Okay, no
You
problem.
Want to turn off the volume?
Sure.
Thank you.
Lost the town clerk.
All right, good evening, Town Board. So anyways, we are broadcasting on 22, streaming to YouTube. The meeting is being recorded. The phone lines are open. You may proceed.
Thank you, Matthew. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the East Hampton Town Board meeting of Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. Carol, if you could please read the roll call.
Present. Present.
Present.
Present.
Present. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So tonight we have three public hearings. The first is the 2025 CPF Management and Stewardship Plan, and Scott Wilson from our Land Acquisition and Management Department will introduce that. Then we have a potential CPF acquisition for 15 Garfield Avenue. And lastly, we have the public hearing for the Community Housing Fund. It's the funding award grant for the East Hampton Housing Authority for 109 Hampton Street, Sag Harbor. That's going to be followed by public portion and then resolutions. We ask folks if you could kindly keep your comments to 3 minutes. But before we start, we're going to welcome Hugh King, our town historian, to amuse and entertain us, educate us. What's going to happen tonight, Hugh?
It's about us.
Women.
So that's educating.
Start the
and-
clock, Councilman Lee. Okay, tonight we're going to be talking about women, some of the women who have made a difference in the town of East Hampton. This is not all of them, of course. The first I always like to bring up is Judith Hope, who became,
First female supervisor on Long Island.
yes, on Long Island. Oh, I thought it was just in East Hampton.
I think
Wow.
it's Long Island. I think Long Beach had a female mayor, but I think she was the first female on Long Island.
Well, that's even better. But she also did something else. Remember when Councilman Lease was nominated by the Democratic Party to run and you thought the sky was going to fall down? Well, you know what Judith Hope did after she defeated my father in the election? She appointed him as deputy supervisor.
Wow.
Yeah, Republican and Democrat. Barbara Borsak.
Mhm.
Barbara Borsak was the first woman to serve on the East Hampton Village Board, and she was the first woman to run for mayor in the village of East Hampton.
That's
Wow, I
crazy.
didn't know that.
Kathleen Tucker. Kathleen Tucker was instrumental in the saving of AAMZ Zion Church in Sag Harbor, and she was one of the founders of the Eastville Historical Society. Davis Sobel from Springs. One of her books was called Longitude, where she found the man who discovered the idea how you could find your way in the ocean using longitude. Of course, they didn't have latitude, so it wasn't perfect. She also wrote a book called The Glass Universe about the women who worked at Harvard University documenting the stars. These women were either not married or widowed, and we lost all, the history lost all part of them until she discovered them. And she wrote a book about that. And then her latest book about Madame Curie. Madame Curie probably trained over 65 women to be scientists in France and in other parts of the world before women were even in science. She won, I think she won 2 Nobel Peace Prizes. Cornelia Huntington. Cornelia Huntington was probably the smartest person in East Hampton, and that's why she probably never got married. She must have scared all the men. But she started a diary in 1821, and it skipped a few years, unfortunately, finished about 1870. And what she did, she documented what it was like to live in East Hampton at the time. And she wrote a book called Sea Spray, which I think the Sea Spray place got its name from. And it was the thinly veiled story of East Hampton. And do you know that in the 1840s and 50s, this place was crowded with people, even then, before the railroad, before the artists. And we got that through her book. It was also, unfortunately, a way that women had to persevere during this time, okay? Dorothy Zakowski from Sag Harbor. Her book, Sag Harbor, The Story of an American Beauty, is the Bible of history in Sag Harbor. She was also instrumental in the Sag Harbor Historical Society. Jeanette Edwards-Rattray, her book, East Hampton History and Genealogies, that's the Bible when you want to find out, not everybody can use it, of course, to find out the genealogy of the first families that came here. And then, of course, Cheryl Foster. Cheryl Foster was co-town historian with Stewart. And when I say Stewart, you know who I mean, don't you? Stewart Vorpal. It's like Madonna, Cher, and Stewart. And then, since the senior center is being put together, Edna Stack. She served 25 years as the director of human services in the town of East Hampton. So that's it. When I come back next time, we're going to continue with police chiefs. It'll be William Jacobs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hugh. Carol, if you could please read the first hearing notice.
The public hearings will be held live and in person by the town board and will be available electronically by video and teleconferencing and will be televised on local TV, Channel 22, and available for live stream on the LTV website. The public shall be permitted to appear in person, but may also provide comments on the matter being heard by calling 351-888-6331. Any person or party wishing to be heard with respect to the foregoing may do so in person, by agent, by attorney, or by teleconference to a live meeting, by written comment addressed to the East Hampton Town Clerk, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton. Comments may also be submitted to the town clerk by email to cbrennan@ehamptony.gov. All comments must be received by the town clerk by the date and time of the public hearing. Please check the meeting agenda posted on the town's website for any changes and for updated information. Notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing at Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, on Thursday, April 3rd, 6 p.m. or soon thereafter as this matter may be heard, to consider comments of all persons on the proposed M&S plan for Community Preservation Fund acquired properties within the town. The full text of the draft 2025 M&S plan dated 2/19/25 is available for inspection at the office of the town clerk, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, and during regular business hours of 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, exclusive of holidays, as well on the town webpage. Click on Land Acquisition and Management Development.
Thank you, Carol. Scott, do you want to introduce the plan?
Sure, a brief introduction. So Town Law 64E, the Community Preservation Law, requires that we create a management and stewardship plan for all acquired properties. This is the 17th edition of this plan. Probably the 34th time I've actually given this talk. And I haven't memorized it, believe it or not. So while required, I find it simply a good opportunity to revisit our plans to account for the ebb and flow of land management. Because all properties need some form of stewardship, be it posting of signs, cleaning up debris, or reconciling encroachments. We have acquired interest and rights from real property for 545 parcels, with 3 more in contract representing 2,437 acres. We accomplished the vast majority of our stewardship work in-house. We create a baseline document, which documents the parcel as it exists at the time of acquisition. We help create management plans for those properties with some proposed human use, and we regularly monitor all CPF properties for encroachments, dumping, or other issues. Both baseline documents and management plans can be found on the town's website, and we conveniently put the links in this document right here on pages 6 and 7. Beyond in-house management, the proposed management stewardship plan discusses any known projects along with associated expenses. Significant projects may be for 2025, the historic restoration on the Carl Fisher House on Foxborough Road. We have some engineering in process. And the Edwards House, which is on the Duck Creek compound on Squaw Road, and we have engineering in process on that property as well. Please note we have not gone out for requests for proposal for these projects, still waiting on engineering, and therefore we don't have a cost estimate at this time. There also may be other projects that we are not yet aware of, so once adopted, we may need to revisit this plan over the course of the year to modify via public hearing. The stewardship budget being just over $4.675 million, which is the allowable 10% of available stewardship funding based on our last auditable year, 2023, of $47 million. With regard to this plan, the responsibilities of our department was to create a document that will guide us in our future efforts towards appropriate management stewardship goals and objectives, assist in prioritizing projects, and control related expenditures. This lends transparency to the plan, giving the general public the opportunity to participate in the discussions surrounding proposed expenditures. The draft plan can be found on the town's website and in the town clerk's office. We discussed this recently at a work session. I think I asked the board at that time if you had any changes. Obviously, that question still holds. Modifications, changes, rude and/or snide comments?
You're done?
Yes.
Carol, do we have sign-up sheets for tonight's public hearings? Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board on the 2025 CPF plan? Matthew, is there anyone on the line?
We have no callers on the line.
Motion to close?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Carol, if you could please read the second meeting notice?
Take notice that the Town Board of the Town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing in the Town Board Meeting Room, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, pursuant to Section 247 of the General Municipal Law and Section 64E8 of the Town Law of the State of New York on April 3rd at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard, to consider the town's acquisition for the preservation of open space with community preservation funds of a property located at 15 Garfield Avenue in Montauk, reputedly owned by the County of Suffolk and consisting of approximately 0.46 acres of vacant land at a cost to the town of East Hampton not to exceed $5,922.80, plus reasonable survey, title, prorated tax, and recording charges, said property being described on the Suffolk County tax map as 319,744.21.
Thank you, Carol. Scott?
So this is the property, as you can see on your screens here. It's outlined in blue. It's between Montauk Downs and it's owned by the County of Suffolk. No, it's between Lake Montauk and Montauk Downs. That's what I meant to say. And it's owned by the County of Suffolk, and we've been trying to acquire this property for open space since 2015 through the county's 72H program. You can also see all the green below it and to the south. That's all town property, so we've made considerable investment in this area. At this time, the county has completed their internal processes with the Ways and Means Committee and the legislature, and therefore we are proceeding with this public hearing to acquire for preservation. The parcel has extensive freshwater wetlands on and extending across the contiguous town protected lands to the south. As a whole, this parcel is part of a complex drainage system in which much of the surface and groundwater flows into the lake. The parcel has a high water table and poor soil drainage, and any development would require extensive alterations to the natural drainage patterns, which may contribute to chronic flooding. Development of this parcel and subsequent runoff may contribute to the non-point pollution of this watershed and tributary system, which is suspected of contributing substantially to poor water quality and high pollution concentrations within the lake. For these reasons, this parcel meets the criteria set forth in Town Law 64E, and I would ask the Town Board to pass a resolution to acquire.
Thank you, Scott. Would anyone like to address the board on this public hearing? Matthew, is there anyone on the line?
We have no callers on the line.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carol, if you could please read the last meeting notice?
Take notice that the Town Board of the Town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing on April 3rd at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard in the Town Board Meeting Room, East Hampton Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, to consider awarding a grant in the amount of $1,500,000 to the East Hampton Housing Authority for the purpose of acquiring a 4-unit building located at 109 Hampton Street, Sag Harbor, Town of East Hampton, for community housing purposes.
Thank you, Carol. Jay, did you want to address the board? Welcome, Jay.
Hi, good evening, thank you. My name is Jay Lippin. I am one of the 4 residents that live in 109 Hampton Street. I've lived out here for 7 years, and I live out here around. I am in support of the purchase of 109 Hampton Street, so there will be more units for affordable housing in Sag Harbor for many of us who live and work in the community. This purchase will allow myself and the 3 other residents to continue to support this community. My job working with local producers and farmers like Ian and Amber Waves and other producers helps support them with recipe development with their products, as well as food advocacy in the area, which helps them employ more people and support the town. And I just wanted to, please support this, and thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Would anyone else like to address the board? Katie? Welcome, Katie.
Thank you. I am Katie Casey from the East Hampton Housing Authority. I just want to briefly thank the town for acting quickly, giving it consideration, making what I consider to be a very wise decision, and enabling this purchase, which I think is an excellent opportunity and good use of the CHF funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Would anyone else like to address the board? Matthew, is there anyone on the line?
We have no callers on the line.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're through our 3 public hearings. So now we can move on to public portion. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board on any matter? Matthew? Anyone on the line?
No callers on the line.
Okay, so we're going to move to resolutions. Tom, you want to lead us off?
Thank you. So with resolution number 2025-489, this is a warrant approval. Claims on warrant number 4A in the amount of $1,736,564.90 and in the amount of $68,985.69 were ordered by the town board, and supervisor is hereby directed to pay the same.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2025-490, this is payout upon retirement for Thomas Baker. This is for sick time, compensatory time, and prorated longevity. Total amount is for $23,147.50.
Second, and thank you very much for your service to the community, Tom.
Yeah, I was going to say move for discussion. Tom, I've known personally, he was the fire marshal inspecting my business for the last 15 years. He has been an outstanding town employee and very good to work with, and we'll miss him.
Right.
He's a dedicated community
Yeah,
member.
we wish him good health in his retirement.
Thank you.
So all in favor?
Aye.
225-491, this is for a Wellness 60-plus program at the Montauk Senior Center for meditation. This is for Lydia Burns, a wellness facilitator, to provide weekly meditation instruction to seniors at the Montauk Community Center. Total cost to the town is not to exceed $1,950.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2025 for 492, this is to approve an umbrella license for the Motion Picture Licensing Corporation. Whereas the town of East Hampton Department of Human Services is an affiliate member of the National Institute of Senior Centers, and as an affiliate member is eligible for discounted umbrella license from the Motion Picture License Corporation. Be it resolved that the town of East Hampton Human Services Department is hereby authorized to obtain the umbrella license from the Motion Picture Licensing Corporation at an annual cost of $371.69.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm thankful to be offered the resolution 2025-493. This is authorized payment to Optimum for an invoice from 2024 in the amount of $39.35.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 494 is authorized payment of a prior invoice. This is for the Highway Department for 2024 to Advance Auto Parts in the amount of $29.88.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 495 is authorized payment of an invoice to the Highway Department for an invoice to Natural Water Main Cleaning dated February 28th, 2025 in the amount of $1,525.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
496 is the notice of bidders for EH 25-017. This is for the annual contract for cesspool and tank pumping services for 2025. The bid is available on 4/3/25, and the bid is due back on 4/24/25. Please contact the town's purchasing department at 631-324-4141 for further information.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
497 is a payout upon resignation for Paul Trella, who was in CESA, and he was in the town's buildings, and he was an automotive mechanic 3 in the Parks Department, and he he resigned from his position effective February 26, 2025, and he has a total gross payout right now of $726.64.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 498 is a budget modification for aquaculture for uniform purchases, and we're bringing from the budget line for other equipment in the amount of $1,000 to the budget line for uniforms in the same amount of $1,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 499 is amend budget account for an employee in the Highway Department. This is for Terry Nesbitt. Will also be paid out of budget account SR 8160.51200 for work performed as a construction equipment operator in the sanitation department, retroactive to January 1st, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2025-500 is a resolution to adopt amendment to Chapter 240 Vehicles and Traffic of the East Hampton Town Code, Section 68, Schedule 17 Time Limit Parking, and Section 79, Schedule 19 Permit Parking.
Second.
Roll call for this one. I will be recusing myself from this one.
Okay.
Recuse.
Aye.
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 I have Resolution 501, which is to approve employee reimbursement. Town Board authorized reimbursement to Supervisor Kathy Burke Gonzalez for refreshment items in the amount of $102 for a meeting with council upon properly submitted voucher.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 502 is a grant of a scenic and conservation easement, public hearing notice. And this is that the town board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, April 17th at 6 p.m. concerning the following grant of a scenic and conservation easement. The grantor is Paul Kenyon. The location is 114 South Etna Avenue and Montauk, and the reviewing agency is the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 503 is to amend an urban renewal map in SP1-1, urban renewal parcel 32, amend scenic easement requirement and move access point. Whereas the town held a public hearing on March 20th to consider proposed modification in this urban renewal map to reduce the scenic easement along Springs Fireplace Road for urban renewal parcel 32 from 50 feet wide to 25 feet wide, and add a 25-foot wide scenic easement at the rear of urban renewal parcel 32 adjacent to Accomack Harbor, and move the access point of parcel 32 south to create a common driveway between 32 and 31. Whereas the town planning department, town's consulting engineer and planning board both agree with, and the engineer agrees that this is appropriate, and they have no objections to the proposal. Whereas the town board finds the proposed modifications to be reasonable, appropriate. Resolved that the town board hereby approves the proposed modification.
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion, if you don't mind. So I'm in favor of this request here, but I think we have to make sure that all requests like this won't be as unique as this. This is in a location just north of the historical district where setbacks sometimes off the street are good for the vistas, particularly on the harbor. But this property specifically is encumbered by wetlands to the back on there. So this allows for the wetlands to be protected, but also have a building envelope and a buffer off of the road that still will create that vista as you go up Springs Fireplace Road into Springs. So with the uniqueness of that there, and specifically that the planning department and the planning board both are approve of this, look at this, I could see it as something that I can agree with. Others, maybe not, but this one specifically on the uniqueness of it.
So do I have a second?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Second, yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 504, this is to adopt local law to amend Chapter 255 of East Hampton Town Code, to amend Article 5, Special Permit Uses, Section 255-550, Specific Standards and Safeguards, Affordable Housing Development, and Multiple Residents.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 505, this is to amend Resolution 2025-455 to reflect the proper budget line.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2025-506 is to appoint Brett Hurley to detective in the East Hampton Town Police Department. Detective Hurley will have an annual salary of $145,756.12, effective April 6, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 507 is the list appointment to Public Safety Dispatcher 1 in the East Hampton Town Police Department. The following individuals are hereby appointed to the full-time position of Public Safety Dispatcher 1 at the annual rate of $58,129.19, effective April 6, 2025. Joseph Chacho, Demetrios Dimopoulos, Timothy English, Eva Grenzi, and Noelle Martinez. The hiring of the 5 new public safety dispatchers off the latest local civil service eligible list will increase total personnel in our dispatch center from 12 to 17.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 508 is to authorize officer training to the New York Training Officers Association. This is for Officer Tyler Gilbride and Officer Jack Borey, and this financial impact will be $3,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
509 is to amend the 2025 hourly rates for traffic control officers effective April 6, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
510 is to authorize attendance at the State Association of Municipal Purchasing Officials, their annual conference in Lake George for Jeannie Carrozza from May 6th to May 9th. The financial impact is zero cost to the town.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
511 is to extend contract EH 2400. It's not usually 3 zeros. It's not listed anywhere else. Oh, yes, it is. So Carol, there's a typo in the heading. There should only be 2 zeros. 208. Compliance work at the Airport Fuel Farm, Gemstar Construction Corp., and this is for a period of 1 year through May 6, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
512 is to extend contract EH 2022-102, and this is for professional services for the collection of delinquent fines and penalties, and that's for Fundamental Business Services, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
513 is to extend contract EH 24014, printing of envelopes and business cards for 2024, and that's to Check-O-Matic, Ridgewood Press, Concept Print, and Montauk Printing and Graphics.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
514 is to extend contract EH 23-022, T-shirts, sweatshirts, and other uniform items for 2023, ABC Custom Sales, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
515 is to extend contract EH 24013. This is for the supply and delivery of genuine Ford OEM parts for 2024, and this is with Newens Bayshore Ford, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
516 is to extend contract EH 24010, the annual supply and delivery of international truck parts, and that's to Allegiance Trucks, New York City, LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
517 is the appropriation of capital reserve funds for building capital improvements. The town board wishes to appropriate funding from said capital reserve fund, subject to permissive referendum for costs related to capital improvements where supplemental funds are necessary for the Parsons Blacksmith Shop siding restoration project. And we direct the town budget office to make the budget modification in the amount of $25,917.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
518 is to authorize a transfer from the YMCA reserve and a budget modification. This is at the recommendation of our town maintenance supervisor, Steve O'Brien, that the YMCA needs an HVAC circulator, and we're appropriating $5,100.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
519 is to increase the cap for Dan Ruzzo and Whiteman, Osterman, and Hannah LLP as outside environmental counsel for SECRA 2025, and this constitutes a total of $50,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
520 is to pay a NYMAR deductible for Perkins for damages resulting from a motor vehicle accident involving a town-owned vehicle, and this is in the amount of $16,243.23.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
521 is to pay a NYMAR deductible in the matter of John Passy, and this is in the amount of $399.09.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 522, this is notice of public hearing to amend Chapter 25, Code of Ethics of the Town of East Hampton Code. A public hearing will be held at Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, New York, on Thursday, April 17th, 2025, at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
523 is a notice of public hearing establishing the East Hampton Water Supply and Fire Protection District, and this public hearing will take place on Thursday, April 17th at 6 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
524 is to authorize an employee suspension.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, that is our resolutions for tonight. Does anyone have any other matters they want to bring up?
No, I'm good.
All right. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Yes, I make a motion to go into executive session for personnel, real estate, and advice of counsel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, LTV, and thank you all for joining us here tonight.
All right, you got it.